Welcome to Align Christ-Centered Yoga. My name is Linda and I'll be guiding our practice today. And my question for you today as you begin your practice is this: how readily do you sacrifice for others? I was reading through John 10 and Jesus tells us that he is the good shepherd and he defines that for us. I am the good shepherd. The good shepherd lays down his life for the sheep. The hired hand is not the shepherd and does not own the sheep. So when he sees the wolf coming, he abandons the sheep and runs away. And then the wolf attacks the flock and scatters it. And the man runs away because he is a hired hand and cares nothing for the sheep. I am the good shepherd. I know my sheep and my sheep know me, just as the Father knows me and I know the Father. And I lay down my life for the sheep. I have other sheep that are not of this sheep pen, and I must bring them also. They too will listen to my voice, and there will be one flock and one shepherd. The reason my Father loves me is that I lay down my life, only to take it up again. No one takes it from me, but I lay it down of my own accord. I have authority to lay it down and authority to take it up again. And this command I received from my Father. As we're called to love others the way Jesus loves them, we also are called to be good shepherds. And what jumped at me this time when I read through that passage was how many times Jesus says, I came so that I could lay down my life for the sheep, so that I could set my own agenda aside, so that I could set my ego aside. I lay everything aside so that I can shepherd these sheep well. Today, as you practice, I invite you to think about this. How well do you shepherd others? How willing are you to give up? To give up your time, to give up your money, to give up your priorities, so that you can love others in the way that Jesus would love them. In that also, he tells us that we will find abundant life, that we will find the life that he has for us as we live like he does, as we become more like him, as we shepherd his sheep. I invite you to come to a comfortable seated position, maybe elevating your hips up on a blanket or a block. Rock a little bit side to side, front to back, and find those sitting bones. I invite you to close your eyes if you're comfortable with that. Begin to let the day fade away. And I invite you today to imagine your mat as the pen for the sheep, your pen, someplace where you are finding the protection and the provision that you need. Protected from evil, protected from oppression, nurtured and loved. Begin to inhale a little more deeply. Exhale a little more longly, a little longer than the inhale. Invite the body to relax, to soften. What does it feel like to be protected and safe? Can you take up a little more space with that breath? Take one more breath here. Let the hands come down and taking a deep breath in, bring those hands up to the sky and exhale down and begin to find rhythm. Begin to find movement that is led by breath. Let the gaze follow the hands and bow your head as the hands return to the mat. And I invite you today to make this practice a practice of worship. Praising God for who He is and for all that He has done for you. I invite you today to make this a practice of surrender. Surrendering agenda and priorities and will. Opening up your heart to the love of the Father and to loving others. Next time the hands come down, leave them there. Press into that right hand, bring that left arm all the way up and over, and then the right. And I invite you to bring both arms up and gently twist to the right. Scoop the arms forward and twist to the left. Bring the arms all the way forward, all the way up and down to each side, creating a little bit of a warm-up flow here, pressing into that right hand as that left arm reaches, reaching to the other side. Scooping the arms forward, hinging at the hip, find length in the spine as you rise, and exhale as those ribs wrap around the spine, finding twist. And again in the other direction. And come back to center and bring those arms all the way up and down to the side, and one more time. Reaching to one side and then the other. Scooping the arms forward and up, twisting to one side and then the other. And then one final time, let the arms rise and fall down to your side. Go ahead and come off the block. If you're on one, bring that right leg out to the side. Bring the blocks towards the front of the mat. Turning towards that leg, hinge at the hips, drawing forward and back. And two more times here. And as you're ready, come all the way forward and settle here and let the head come down. And notice, why did you stop here? What is holding you back? And just settle into that. Don't push it. No struggling, no shaking, no pain. Just a softening. Maybe the head can hang a little heavier. One more breath here. Gently pressing into your hands, rise up. I invite you to bring this extended leg behind you. Bring your left hand behind you and sweep your right arm up as your hips rise. So you made a pinwheel and now those hips are rising and falling. One more time here. And rise up and just stay here. Again, opening your heart to the protection and the provision of the Father, opening your heart to protecting and providing for others. And as you're ready, release. Go ahead and bring that leg all the way around. Deep breath in, arms rise. And I invite you to twist again to the right, and maybe this is a deeper twist. Find a little bit of traction as that arm presses against the leg. Maybe a little more height, top of the head rising. As you're ready, meet me at center. Go ahead and bring those legs out in front of you. Find your sitting bones, windshield wiper the feet, bounce the knees. Maybe you can walk yourself back with your sitting bones. Maybe you can walk yourself forward, just exploring sensation. And then settle into staff pose. Deep breath in, arms rise. As you inhale, push up from underneath in those serratus muscles. Lengthen through the neck, engage the abdominals, soften the rib cage. Take a breath and check in. What do you notice? Maybe you close your eyes. How does staff pose feel? Exhale, hands down to the mat. Same sequence on the other side. That left leg extends, hinging at the hip. Exhale forward. Inhale back. Back and forth here. And one more time. And as you're ready, come forward and settle into the hamstring stretch. And I said hamstring stretch. For me, this is a hip stretch. For some of you, it's a back stretch. Settle into this stretch and notice what's holding you back. And begin to soften and relax. One more breath here. As you're ready, release, pressing into your hands. Go ahead and bring that extended leg behind you. Find your pinwheel as your shins are parallel to the mat. Right hand comes behind, left arm sweeps up, hip points rise, exhale down. 2 more times here. And as you're ready, come all the way up and stay. And engage the abdominals and open up. One more breath here. Exhaling, bring that arm all the way around. Cross that back leg around the front. Find the sitting bones again. Maybe you lift up a little and then settle in. Deep breath in, arms rise. Engage the abdominals. Exhale and come across in your twist. Find your breath. I invite you to take 2 more breaths here. As you're ready, release. And again, come into that staff pose, bringing those feet in front of you, finding the sitting bones, bounce the knees, windshield wiper the feet. Deep breath in, breathe those arms up. Exhale, lengthen through the neck. Flexing the feet, push the feet away as the hips come back. Find your breath. Maybe the eyes close. How does staff pose feel? This is a strong pose. Find the strength in it. Exhale and release. Meet me in table, bringing the knees underneath. So knees are underneath the hips, wrists are underneath the shoulders, fingers spread wide. Find cat and cow a few times, just warming up through the muscles of the back. One more time, cat and cow. Still leading with breath, exhaling into that cat, inhaling to cow. Engage through the abdominals, find a strong table, curl the toes under, tilt the hips down towards the mat, draw knees into rib cage, begin to find downward dog. So shake your head out no and yes. Start to pedal through your feet. Deep breath in, heels rise, exhaling, heels come down to the mat. How does downward facing dog feel today? Again, just noticing. My first downward facing dog is rarely comfortable. There's always some place that's pretty tight. One more breath here. Taking a deep breath in, let that right leg rise up. And gaze forward, bring the foot in between the hands, let that back knee tap down and up. Begin to stretch out through the front of the hip and the psoas. As you're ready, let that knee come down to the mat, top of the foot to the mat. Deep breath in, arms rise. Go ahead and take those elbows out. Cactus arms as you engage the abdominals. Find a gentle twist to the side. Inhaling, let the crown of the head rise. Exhaling, come into a deeper twist. Stay here. Where is the gaze? If your arms were against the wall, would your upper arms and your forearms be against that wall? What's the rotation of the shoulders? Just noticing. Exhale, release. Hands come to either side. Go ahead and raise that back leg up. Bring the front foot to the back. Meet me in plank. From plank, however you choose to do it. Knees are straight. Come down to the mat. Go ahead and come into a low cobra. Elbows over wrists. Gently guide the chest up and through. And exhale down. Hands to rib cage, come through table, meeting me in downward dog. Take a moment to check in here. All we really did was stretch through the psoas, add a little twist. Does this feel any different? Deep breath in, left leg rises high. Gaze forward, go ahead and bring that foot all the way through. Take that back knee down and up. And then as you're ready, let the knee settle into the mat, top of the foot to the mat, rise up into that lunge. You can get a little cushion or a little blanket, a rolled up blanket or towel underneath that knee if you need it. Cactus arms, find your twist. Deep breath in. Exhale, maybe the twist goes a little deeper. Again, just noticing, how are the arms rotated? Find your breath. Exhale, release. Hands come to either side of the foot. Raise that back leg. Push off that back foot. Meet me in forward fold. And bend the knees just a little bit as you hold on to the elbows, top of the head to the mat. Let the body move a little bit side to side. And then as you're ready, bend and straighten the knees a few times. And find a forward fold that provides release for your back. So don't worry about how much your knees are bent. Imagine those hamstring muscles rising up into the hips. Find your breath. Hands to shins, rise up halfway. Exhaling, come down, take a deep breath in, rise all the way up to mountain. Exhale, hands to heart. I invite you to close your eyes and to check in. Here in mountain pose, how protected, how nurtured do you feel? How has Jesus protected and provided for you? Taking a deep breath in, open those arms up in a big Y. Maybe you find a bit of a back bend here. And exhale, forward fold. Hands to shins, arms rise up halfway. Exhaling, come down, one leg back and then the other. Meet me in plank. From plank, come down to the mat and find your back bend. Rise into downward facing dog. Take 2 breaths here, check in. How does downward facing dog feel now? The next inhale, right leg rises high. Nose to knee, a little bit of a crunch as that knee comes into the nose. Let that leg rise high again. This time the foot comes all the way through the hand. Come into a high lunge. Ooh, find your balance. And then exhaling, invite you to come into a low twist. You can stay in a high twist if that's better for you, but maybe you're hinging forward, bringing that arm across. This time I invite you to find traction. So go ahead and press arm into leg, leg into arm. Maybe you press through that big toe of that front leg a little bit, big toe of the back leg, and then even out the weight on the feet and notice what you notice. As you're ready, release. Rise all the way up into that lunge. Hands to heart, check in. Take a deep breath in, bring the hands down behind the back. Find a back bend here, roll the shoulders a little forward, and then tuck those shoulder blades under, opening up across the chest. Arms rise high, hands to either side of the foot. Bring the back foot forward. This time I invite you to come up into chair pose. So just sink those hips. Begin to find length in the spine, a neutral position of the spine. Rise into your mountain. Maybe the arms come out, finding a back bend. And exhale, forward fold. Hands to shins, rise up halfway, exhaling, come down. Find your flow. How are you going to get back to downward facing dog? Find your downward facing dog and check in. On the next inhale, the left leg rises high. Again, a little bit of a crunch. Engage the abdominals, nose to knee. Let that leg rise high, drawing the gaze forward. Bring the foot in between the hands, rise into that lunge. Find that focal point in front of you right away. That will help with that balance. Again, hands to heart, find your twist. If you're going low, hinge forward at that hip first, lengthen through the spine, and then wrap those ribs around. Find that traction. Elbows stacked, find breath. One more breath here. As you're ready, release. Bring the arms all the way up, hands to heart. Find your lunge again. And again, hands to the lower back. Go ahead and draw the shoulders forward and then back. Open your heart up. How willing are you to sacrifice for others, to lay down your life for the people that God has brought within your circle of influence? Deep breath in, arms rise. Exhaling, hands come to either side of the foot as that back foot comes forward, dropping the hips. Meet me in chair. Settle into chair for a breath. And rise into mountain. This time, go ahead and take those hands behind you, interlacing the fingers. If that works for you, elbows wide, backs of the hands pressed down. Find your back bend here. Open up across the front of the body. Deep breath in, arms rise. Exhale and find your forward fold. Hands to shins, come up halfway. Exhaling, come down. Find your plank, and from here, find your way back through whatever flow you choose and into downward facing dog. When you get to downward facing dog, stay there and check in. One more breath. What do you notice? Taking a deep breath in, right leg rises high. We're going to find fallen triangle. So knee will come towards the nose, but go ahead and kickstand that foot out to the side. Bring that right hand to the center of the mat. You're going to come to the inside edge of that back foot, open up. Fallen triangle. Stack the shoulders. Reach those fingers to the sky. Exhale, release, rotate the body towards the mat. Again, bring that leg up, three-leg dog. And guide the foot forward. Find your focal point, rise to lunge. This time, as you find your twist, maybe it's a stronger twist And you're finding the same depth of the twist without the traction. So you're really going to engage through that abdominal wall. Maybe you're pressing through the hands just a little bit. That is going to engage the muscles of the upper back as well. One more breath here. Exhale, release. Rise into your lunge. Clasp those hands behind you. Draw the shoulders a little forward first. Then take them back as you find your back bend. Taking a deep breath in, arms rise. Hands to heart, we're going to stay here, weight in that right foot. Bring that left leg forward, knee rises. Go ahead and bring the arms out to the side. Find a twist here. Go ahead and bring the feet down, foot down, deep breath in, arms rise. Exhale, forward fold. Hands to shins, rise up halfway. Exhaling, come to the mat. One leg back and then the other. Meet me in plank. From plank, come down. Find your flow and breathe your way to downward facing dog. Stay here for another 2 breaths. On the next inhale, left leg rises high. So again, fallen triangle. That knee is going to come towards the nose, but then you're going to kickstand that leg out, bring that left hand towards the center of the mat, rotate that back foot, open up. And unwind, find your way back to the mat, wrists under shoulders, feet hip width apart, leg rises, 3-leg dog. And bring the foot all the way through into your lunge, rising into high lunge. Again, high twist is fine. If you're with me, you're going to hinge forward from those hips. You're going to rotate. You're going to try to just hold on to that really strong twist without using the traction between arm and leg. One more breath here. Exhaling, release, rise all the way up. Take those hands behind you, interlacing the fingers, lengthen through the spine. Begin to find your back bend as you tuck those shoulder blades under. Deep breath in, arms rise. Exhale, hands to either side of the foot. Back foot comes to the front. Feet are hip width apart. Sink the hips, rise into chair. Settle into chair and rise up into mountain. I invite you this time to stay in mountain for 3 breaths. Find it. How does the body feel? Can you slow down the exhale a little bit? What do you notice right to left? Exhaling, forward fold. And hands to shins, rise up halfway and exhale down and one leg back and then the other and meet me in plank. And how are you coming to the mat and what back bend do you choose? And curling the toes under, meet me in downward dog. And settle into your downward facing dog and shake your head out, no and yes. One more time through. We're just going to add a tiny bit. Right leg rises high. Gaze forward. Knee comes in. Fallen triangle as you kickstand out and rise. I'm just realizing I think I forgot our standing twist on the other side. Exhale. Unwind. Homework assignment for later. Bring that leg all the way up. And bring it through. Go ahead and find your lunge. Hands to heart. Exhale into your low twist. This time, maybe the arms extend. Again, can you make it strong? Hold with these abdominal muscles over here. Twist with those oblique muscles. Exhale, release, and rise. Hands come down. Shoulders come a little bit forward and then back, interlacing the fingers. Find the back bend. Arms rise high. Exhale, hands to either side of the foot. The back foot comes forward. Feet flat on the mat. Drop the hips. Find your chair. Step into that left foot. Bring the knee up. Rise up into a mountain. Hands out to the side. Come across and find your twist. So, to keep us even, bring this leg down. Come across to the other side, knee rises. Find your twist here. This time, maybe this leg extends out forward. Maybe the gaze comes behind you. Shifting the gaze is a balance challenge. And as you're ready, release, meeting me in mountain. Exhale, forward fold. Hands to shins, rise up halfway. Exhaling, come down. One leg back and then the other. Meet me in plank. And from plank, come down to the mat and find your back bend. And find your way back to downward facing dog. So meet me in downward dog. Let's stay here for 2 breaths. What do you notice? Taking a deep breath in, left leg rises high. Go ahead and crunch a little bit as that knee comes center, and then extend that leg out, left hand to the center of the mat. Find your fallen triangle. Stay here in a breath. Maybe you lift up a little more from those internal obliques. And then exhale, bring your way back to the mat. Square the wrists under the shoulders, 3-leg dog. And drawing the gaze forward, bring the foot all the way through. Find your lunge. Hands to heart, hinge at the hips. Twist across. Find your twist. Maybe the arms are open. Find your breath. As you're ready, release. Rise high into your lunge. Bring those arms down again, just the tiniest of shoulder roll forward, and then tuck those shoulder blades under. Hold on to those hands awkwardly. Find back bend. Can the shoulders reach down towards the hips? Deep breath in, arms rise. Exhaling, hands come to either side of the foot. Back foot rises forward. Drop the hips. Meet me in chair. As you rise up into mountain, lift that right leg high. Hands out to the side. Twist towards the inside of that leg. Opposite arm comes across. Maybe you stay here. Maybe that leg extends. Maybe the gaze comes over the shoulder. One more breath. As you're ready, release. Whoop, lost my balance. Come back to center as that gaze comes forward. That's our balance challenge, right? Deep breath in, arms rise. Exhaling, draw the belly in, come forward. And hands to shins, rise up halfway. Exhale down, one leg back and then the other. Meet me in plank. From plank, come down to the mat. Find your breath. Come through table, child to table twice. Follow the breath. I invite you to meet me in child's pose. Settle into child. Jesus tells his disciples repeatedly that they need to lay down their life. And he tells us that that is the definition of the Good Shepherd. What does that mean to you in this moment? As you're ready, gently press into your hands and rise up. I invite you to bring your feet forward and gently drop your knees down side to side. Go ahead and bring your legs forward. Let's find one final staff pose here. So windshield wiper those feet and bounce the knees and wiggle the hips. Taking a deep breath in, settle in here, arms rise. So again, as you inhale, you're going to kind of push those shoulders up. But as you exhale, you're going to lengthen through the neck. How does staff pose feel now? What has changed? One more breath here. As you're ready, hands come down. Go ahead and bend the knees again and come all the way down onto your back. Draw your knees in. Your arms can be under the knees or over the knees, whatever works for you. And just gently rock side to side. And maybe closing your eyes, again, this mat today, this very protected, sacred space. A place where Jesus can provide for you. A place that prepares you to protect and provide for others. Hands to knees, I invite you to make a circle on the ceiling. You're just going to massage out your lower back and just notice if anything is going on there. And if you find a hot spot, maybe you hang out and massage that out. As you're ready, go the other direction. Meeting me back at center, draw knees into the rib cage and away, back and forth here. Feet come down to the mat, legs extend. And windshield wiper your feet and bounce your knees and wiggle your hips. Take a deep breath here. Bring the hands all the way up to the ceiling. Let the shoulder blades come off the mat. With an exhale, let the shoulders thump down. One more time. Hands come down to your side. Notice how it feels on the mat. Gently turn your head side to side from the top of one ear up and over to the top of the other. I invite you to come back to center, finding breath. Invite the Good Shepherd to shepherd your soul. I invite you to stay here a little longer if you can. If you need to move on with your day, begin to bring movement back. Wiggle fingers and toes and rotate wrists and ankles and turn your head side to side. Taking a deep breath in, arms rise up and overhead, and fingers go to one wall and toes go to the other, and find breath. As you're ready, bend your knees and roll over onto your side. Maybe you support your head with your arm or a block. And let the blood pressure rise a little bit, the heart rate come back a little bit. As you're ready, gently press into your hands and rise up to sitting. I invite you to cross your legs comfortably in front of you to find your sitting bones. To check in one final time, body, mind, and soul. What has changed since you came to the mat today? Deep breath in, arms rise up and overhead, palms together, and exhale, hands to heart. Joining me in prayer. Jesus, you are the Good Shepherd, and we can look back in our lives and we can see all of the ways that you have protected us from evil, all of the ways that you have provided for us when we could not provide for ourselves. Jesus, help us to be a good shepherd to others. Help us to lay aside agenda, to lay aside will, selfishness. Help us, Lord, to see where others are in need and to trust you to help us to fulfill and to care for them. Jesus, we thank you so much for this life abundant that you have promised and this life that we find when we invest in others. It is in your name that we pray. Amen. Thank you for practicing with me today.